7 businesses. Nobody wants to start, but they can actually make money. Most people start looking for a business by asking one question: what business is trending right now? And that's exactly where they go wrong. Because when everyone starts chasing the same opportunity, the opportunity usually becomes more expensive, more competitive, and much harder for a beginner to win. But what if the better business opportunities are hiding in places nobody wants to look? Businesses that aren't glamorous, businesses that don't look exciting on Instagram, businesses that people scroll past because they seem boring. The interesting part is that boring doesn't mean unprofitable. In fact, sometimes the opposite is true. Because when everyone wants to sell the same products, create the same content, or launch the same online store, the businesses nobody's excited about can have something incredibly valuable: less competition. Today, we're looking at 7 businesses that most beginners would probably ignore, but that can solve real problems, serve real customers, and potentially become very profitable when they're operated properly. And stay until number 7, because it's one of the most overlooked opportunities on this list. But before we get into them, there's one idea you need to understand. Don't chase what looks exciting. Look for what people are willing to pay to make disappear. That's the difference between a business idea and a real business. Business. Number 1, cleaning services. Let's start with one of the least glamorous businesses imaginable: cleaning. And that's exactly why it's interesting. Nobody grows up saying, "I want to build a cleaning company." People dream about restaurants, fashion brands, tech startups, beauty companies, and online stores. Very few people dream about cleaning offices at 6 a.m. But customers don't pay you because your business sounds impressive. They pay you because they have a problem. And cleaning solves a very obvious problem. Businesses need their offices cleaned. Airbnbs and rental properties need turnover cleaning. Property managers need reliable cleaners. Families need help maintaining their homes. And many of these customers don't want to do the work themselves. That creates something every good business needs: recurring demand. And here's the part beginners often misunderstand. You don't necessarily need to personally clean every building forever. You can start by doing the work yourself, learn exactly what customers want, build a reputation, document the process, and eventually hire people to handle the service while you focus on acquiring customers and managing operations. That's how a boring service can become a real business. But there's another lesson here. Don't just say, "I want to start a cleaning business." That's too broad. Instead, find a specific customer with a specific problem. For example, I clean small offices after business hours. Or I provide turnover cleaning for short-term rental owners. Or I help property managers prepare apartments between tenants. The more specific the problem, the easier it becomes to explain why someone should hire you. And remember, you're not really selling cleaning. You're selling a clean space without the customer having to deal with the work. That's a much stronger offer. Business, number 2, mobile car detailing. Now let's move from buildings to cars. Mobile car detailing is another business that doesn't sound revolutionary. But think about what makes it interesting. People love their cars. They spend thousands of dollars buying them. They spend money repairing them. They care about how they look. And many people simply don't want to spend 3 hours sitting at a car wash. That's where convenience becomes the product. Instead of asking the customer to bring their car to you, you bring the service to the customer. You can potentially start small with basic equipment, learn the skills, and build your customer base locally. But here's where we can apply the Hormozy style thinking. Don't compete by saying, "We clean cars." That's a commodity. Instead, create an offer. For example, complete interior reset for busy professionals. Now you're not just cleaning a car. You're targeting a specific person with a specific problem. Or pre-sale car detailing. And that's another interesting angle. Someone preparing to sell a car has a financial reason to make it look better. Or monthly maintenance detailing. Now you have the possibility of recurring customers instead of constantly finding new ones. And this is the bigger lesson. A boring service becomes more valuable when you package it around a valuable outcome. Don't sell the task, sell the result. Business number 3, pet services. Here's another market people underestimate: pet services, dog walking, pet sitting, pet grooming, pet transportation, pet waste removal. And yes, even pet waste removal. Somebody has to do these jobs. And the interesting part is that pet owners often treat their animals like family. That means they're willing to spend money on convenience, safety, and care. But don't think of this as, "I'm going to walk dogs." Think bigger. Imagine you're building a local pet care brand. You start with dog walking, then add pet sitting, then add grooming partnerships, then add transportation, then create recurring packages for customers who need weekly or monthly services. Suddenly, what looked like a tiny side hustle starts looking like a service business. And this is where many beginners make another mistake. They think, "I need 1 million customers." You don't. You need the right customers. Imagine you had 50 customers who each paid you regularly for a service they genuinely needed. That's very different from trying to get thousands of random customers through a one-time purchase. Recurring customers can be extremely valuable because you don't have to restart the sales process from zero every week. But there is an even more important point. Look for markets where emotion is involved. Pets are emotional, children are emotional, homes are emotional, health and convenience are emotional. When a customer cares deeply about the outcome, price isn't always the only thing they consider. Trust matters, reliability matters, experience matters, and that's where a small business can compete. Business. Number 4, property maintenance. Here's one that most people completely overlook. Property maintenance. Think about everything that can go wrong with a property. Broken fixtures, small repairs, yard maintenance, painting, pressure washing, minor installations, cleaning, trash removal, tenant turnover. Property owners don't necessarily want to personally deal with every small problem. And property managers certainly don't want to call 5 different companies every time something needs to be fixed. That creates an opportunity. Instead of becoming the person who does one random repair, you can position yourself as the reliable person or company that handles a category of maintenance problems. And again, specificity matters. You could focus on rental properties, small landlords, Airbnb hosts, office buildings, real estate agents preparing properties for sale. Think about what happens whenever a property changes hands. Someone needs to clean it. Someone needs to repair things. Someone needs to make it look presentable. Someone needs to prepare it for the next customer or tenant. That means the business isn't dependent on people simply wanting something. It can be connected to an event that naturally creates demand, and that is a powerful business principle. Look for moments when customers have no choice but to solve a problem. A landlord can postpone buying a fancy office decoration, but if a property needs to be cleaned before a new tenant arrives, that's a different situation. Urgency increases value. Business. Per 5. Resale and liquidation. Now let's get into something more interesting. Reselling unwanted inventory. Businesses constantly have products they don't want anymore. Overstock, returns, old inventory, discontinued products, damaged packaging, items that simply didn't sell. To one business, that's a problem. To another person, it can be inventory. And this is where the boring business mindset becomes powerful. Most people look at something unwanted and think, nobody wants that. A business-minded person asks, why doesn't the current owner want it, and who might still want it? That's a completely different question. The opportunity isn't necessarily in buying random products and hoping someone purchases them. The opportunity can be in finding an inefficient market. For example, one seller may have excess inventory that they need to move quickly. Another buyer may be looking for exactly that type of product at a lower price. The business sits between them. You find the inventory. You understand its actual market value. You find a buyer, and you make money by solving the mismatch. This concept appears everywhere in business. One person's problem can become another person's supply, and that leads to a rule worth remembering. Don't just search for products, search for inefficiencies. Business. Number 6. Content repurposing for small businesses. Now let's move into the digital world. Because not every boring business has to involve physical work, here's one opportunity. Content repurposing for small businesses. Every day, businesses create content. A business owner records a podcast. A coach records a long video. A real estate agent records a property walkthrough. A doctor records educational content. A business founder makes a webinar. And then what happens? They upload it once and move on. Short videos, social media posts, quotes, carousels, email content, blog posts, captions, and promotional clips. The business owner often doesn't have the time to do all of this. That's the problem. And you don't necessarily need to become a world-class filmmaker to solve it. You need to understand how to take existing content and turn it into useful pieces of content for different platforms. And here's how you avoid becoming another cheap editing service. Don't say, I edit videos. Say, I turn one long video into 20 pieces of social content. That's a much stronger offer. You're selling output. You're selling time saved. You're selling consistency. And potentially, you're helping a business owner get more value from content they already created. This is where digital businesses become interesting. You don't always need to create something completely new. Sometimes the opportunity is sitting inside something that already exists, but isn't being used properly. Business number 7, the boring. Business that most people ignore. Now for number 7, and this one isn't really one specific business, it's a strategy. Serve businesses that everyone else ignores. Think about the small businesses around you, the local contractor, the dentist, the mechanic, the restaurant owner, the repair shop, the cleaning company, the property manager, the local manufacturer, the salon. Many of these businesses don't need another motivational quote. They need customers, they need better systems, They need better follow-up. They need better websites. They need better Google profiles. They need social media content. They need appointment reminders. They need customer reviews. They need leads. And many small businesses are still operating with systems that haven't changed in years. That's the opportunity. You don't have to invent the next billion-dollar app. You can find a business that already makes money, identify one thing that's holding it back, and solve that problem. For example, a local service business gets 100 inquiries but follows up with only 40. If you help them build a better follow-up system, you're not selling software. You're solving lost revenue. Or imagine a local business has hundreds of happy customers but almost no online reviews. You help create a simple review generation system. Again, you're not selling reviews. You're helping the business build trust and attract future customers. This is one of the biggest lessons I want you to take away from this entire video. You don't always need a new market. Sometimes you need a better solution for an existing market. The biggest lesson. Now let's step back. What do all 7 businesses have in common? Cleaning, car detailing, pet services, property maintenance, reselling, content repurposing, business services. They aren't glamorous, and that's the point. The internet has trained us to believe that a successful business needs to look exciting. A laptop, a luxury lifestyle, 1 million followers, a revolutionary app, a huge office. But real businesses don't care how exciting they look on Instagram. They care about one thing. Does someone have a problem badly enough to pay me to solve it? That's the question you should ask before starting almost any business. Not, is this trending? Not, will this make me rich? Not, does everyone on TikTok say this is the next big thing? Ask, who has the problem? How painful is the problem? How often does it happen? Are people already paying to solve it? And most importantly, can I solve it better, faster, cheaper, or more conveniently? That's where real opportunities start appearing. But there's one more thing. There's a trap hidden inside this entire video. You could watch this list and immediately think, great, I'll start one of these tomorrow. Don't, not yet. Because a business idea is worthless without validation. Before spending hundreds or thousands of dollars, test whether people actually want your offer. Talk to potential customers. Ask what they're currently doing. Ask what they hate about the current solution. Ask what they've already tried. Ask what they would pay to make the problem disappear. And whenever possible, try to get a customer before you build the perfect business. That's one of the biggest differences between people who constantly plan and people who actually build. Planning feels productive. Selling gives you information. You can spend 3 months designing the perfect website, or you can spend 3 days talking to 10 potential customers. The second option might teach you more, because the market doesn't care about your business plan. The market tells you what it wants. Your job is to listen. Final takeaway. So if you're starting from zero, don't automatically chase the business everyone is talking about. Look in the opposite direction. Look for boring. Look for inconvenient. Look for repetitive. Look for neglected customers. Look for businesses with problems that happen every week. Look for things people don't want to do themselves. And then ask, can I build a simple, reliable solution around this problem? Because sometimes the biggest opportunity isn't hiding inside something new. It's hiding inside something everyone else decided wasn't interesting. And that may be the biggest business advantage of all. If you're trying to build a small business, but you don't know where to start, subscribe to Eamon Fatima. Because on this channel, we're not just talking about business ideas. We're breaking down how real businesses work, where beginners waste money, how to find profitable opportunities, and how to build smarter from the beginning. And if you want to know which businesses I would personally choose if I had to start again with almost zero money, watch the next video. Because the cheapest business isn't always the best business, and the best business isn't always the one everyone is talking about. I'll see you in the next one.